I was waiting. I was hoping that you're going to do the cold open where you could hear. Oh, that's fine. The cold open was just a. You are watching. Yeah, cheers. You are watching Dad's Bet Baseball. I am Adam Rosenberg, and I have my friend CJ Buskey, aka Slippin' Jimmy. We are also brought to you. Spoiler alert! As you can see, if you're watching this, we're brought to you by our friends at Hall of Fame Bets, which is a pretty cool platform. You can do a lot of insights on it. We'll talk a little bit more about it later in the show. But if you sign up for Hall of Fame Bets and you use the code DADS, they actually gave us a code DADS and no one had it before us. You get 50% off the first month and you get a 7-day free trial. And it's good. It's got a lot of really deep insights. We've talked about them before. It's how we've kind of tackled a couple of different markets. But CJ, I think that we are now 1 month in to the season. And so I got a bunch of things on my mind that we want to talk about. The biggest thing that is on, well, I don't want to go for like, do you have something big and what's big and that's on your mind? What's going on in your world right now? Baseball.
Oh man.
I mean, I care about your family, but what's going on? What's going on baseball wise for you?
I gotta say, and by the way, I requested the code Dad Jeans and it was denied. So Dads is the code, but hey, it's yeah, you and I both have used Hall of Fame Bets to great success. And as a dad, you don't have a lot of time. You need something to make your research a little bit quicker and faster. So Hall of Fame Bets, great app to be able to use for that. Top of mind for me, can we talk about the Cincinnati Reds? Because as I'm going through the list of teams you and I were high on coming into the season, Rangers being one of them, the Royals, okay, that doesn't look so great right now. They were another one. The Reds were, however, one of the teams we actually placed a bet on, I believe, over 16.5 wins for April. I don't think that is going to come to fruition, but
wow, that's right. That's really, was it 16.5 or was it 15.5?
It was 16.5. Now, if they count March, then I think we do technically.
No, it is because it's supposed to be the number by the end of April, but not in
okay.
April.
And then I think we're good. Great. So we should cash that. So
yeah, because we lost the Guardians like a week ago.
Well,
like,
I think
we could spoiler alert. We'll talk about that. Yeah,
too. But I wanted to bring up the Reds because they got off to a terrible start. They couldn't hit at all the first couple of weeks, and they were 29th in wins above replacement in terms of batting as a team heading into April 15th. They are first in wins above replacement since April 15th, and they are right now, if I believe by WRC plus, they are third in WRC plus over the last couple of weeks. So this is a team that we thought they're going to be able to hit the crap out of the ball. You've got Tito in the dugout there that's going to hopefully solve or work on some bad tendencies with this team, a team that is young, swings a lot of stuff. And I think you're already starting to see some early returns from that from a lineup perspective. So bullpen still scares me. They have some pitching that they're going to need to figure out other than they have Hunter Green, they have Lodolo. They've got some guys that are kind of, from a prospect standpoint, ready to come up soon. You've got Rhett Lauder. He's about to throw a bullpen session. I think we're going to see a Chase Burns appearance.
Chase Petty started today. Starting now. I don't know how he did.
I think we're going to see a Chase Burns appearance at some point later this season. Second overall pick last year, can throw 102 miles an hour. So there's some cavalry on the way in terms of some young prospects to potentially help the starters. But yeah, man, I think like this division's kind of wide open besides the Cubs. And we talk a lot about these teams in the East having a really hard division, the West being a really hard division. It's really the Reds and the Cubs for me right now in the Central. And I think there could be some opportunities to start really backing this team in the next month or so.
So I like this team. We've liked this team. This team the last 2 weeks has been on fire hitting wise. You mentioned it. They have the highest WRC plus in the league. Everything that they cut their K rate down, which is crazy for them. You know what's weird? They did all this on the road. Now the reason why this is weird is because this is a Reds team that has lived and died by playing in a sandbox, and they are a home run factory in Great American. And they're actually, if you look at their away, so for the season, they are the 5th highest team WRC plus, the 4th highest or 3rd highest WOBA, and
3rd in OPS.
top 10 ISO on the road. When you go home for this team, 2nd worst WRC plus, 2nd worst ISO. Absolutely not. And you saw it in this St. Louis series. It's wild because their hitting takes such a dive, and they have the 2nd best pitching in the league. Lodolo has been great. I think moving Ashcraft to relief is genius. The dude throws heat. He's built to be a closer. He doesn't have the conditioning to be a starter, so I think that's great. But yeah, I don't think that at the end of the day, I don't think this team has a lot of the pieces because a lot of guys aren't actually still hurt. CES is hurt. McLean doesn't look right, but he's not hurt. Steer is definitely hurt.
Steer is definitely
we're trying
hurt,
to figure out their roles and what people are doing. But yeah, man, I like this team. This team is really, to me, if you're going to do a market bet on this team, I don't like this team for the division. I still don't like this team for the division just because there's just a clicking on cylinders veteran firepower that happens with this Cubs team that frankly, they're older and they're a little better in that regard.
I think the Cubs are also going to be willing to spend more.
Sure. And we've talked about that. And
yeah.
Right. And that part aside, I completely agree. But what I think is worth a bet, and I will pull up the old green book here because they usually have this. But let me look up. I'm looking this up live, but I want to see. You can bet. I know you could do it on the blue book, but it's the.
Sound like we're in the Matrix.
Well, if they want to sponsor us, it'd be a little different. But whatever, man. DraftKings and FanDuel. If you want to, it's not up right now because games are going on. You can bet exact seeds, and I would bet them to be the 6th seed. Or whatever it's going to be, one of those, betting exact seed, exact wild card, whatever, you could do that. Another bet this team, because this team reminds me of, it's the Mets from last year. So we can, if whispering, I just said the Mets from last year, who CJ and I took in July to make the NLCS at 16-1 and probably was our best bet of the season. Paid for all of our stupid bets, actually.
I was gonna say that really just paid for all the bad bets.
Paid for all the other ones.
It did pay.
But that's a market I would absolutely look at for this team because I think a 3-man of Lodolo, Hunter, and Brady is pretty good in the playoffs.
I definitely think having Green as your number 1 starter going into a wild card round is going to make you very dangerous. I know obviously it's best of 3, but I still really believe in him. We've talked about him, I think, kind of entering that ace territory. He's had a couple of rough starts lately, but otherwise I still see all of the advanced stuff with him that would say that, he's kind of gone to another level. And again, I just think the difference is, and I love the point you made about Great American. They haven't even really hit well at Great American. This team has done great on the road. Likely they'll start hitting at some point better back in their own ballpark. And I do trust Tito there as a kind of calming sort of a presence that will be able to keep them disciplined here for the coming months, especially since it's a young team. And it makes me think, because you mentioned the Guardians, Adam, so speaking of Tito,
spoiler, we're not going to move the AL Central.
So this team pisses me off because last year was one of the people that said, hey, maybe, you know what? I can see why this team had a bounce back type of year. The previous year, people forget that they had that nice playoff run where they made the ALDS. They're playing the Yankees. They end up coming up short, but they were probably a year too early. They disappoint the following season. Then last year, they put everything kind of back together. They have this great season. Nobody can kind of figure it out from an advanced standpoint, other than if you just paid attention that their bullpen was just sick the whole season.
Yeah.
But then I thought coming out of last year, they can't keep getting away with this. It's like, it's like Jesse from Breaking Bad. It's like, you just can't keep getting away with this. And they keep getting away with this. And I don't know what to do with this team.
It probably division, to be totally honest, because here's the thing about this team. This team is they've always, so their advanced metrics have always shown them as a really good small ball on base percentage team, despite the fact that they played a really good home run field. They actually weren't a power hitting team. They never were. The Naylor season last year was very weird because he just finally put it all together. And J Ram's just, he's a 30-30 or 40-40 guy, but like he's not really all the time. But if you look at their stuff, they're delightfully mid in every single area of but they're beating teams the way that they play. And the biggest thing that stands out to me is that this team is able to do very well in the bullpen and continue to be shut down and continue to play team ball over there, despite Klaas, who, by the way, leads the team in wins and saves, despite being so bad that they told him he has to basically reset his entire career and life and role. They're able to do that, and it's kind of phenomenal to me. The big thing for me with this Guardians team is, again, they play in a weak division. So this weak division, I would actually say probably worth it for them on that stuff. I think their ceiling is still the championship series, but they're going to get Bieber and they're going to get Means later this year too. They're going to get a couple of arms that are going to come in later that are going to do really well. And at some point they're going to realize that Tristan McKenzie's got it all and is going to figure it out. And they're going to move him back in the rotation. Like, this team just sort of has a next man up, and they're infuriating, and I can't keep getting away with it. But you know what? I'm probably going to just start backing them while we still have some value on them over the next 3 weeks before people realize, oh, it's the same Guardians team that we've seen every year.
Yeah. I mean, look, they are kind of the antithesis of your Phillies in that they play very structured, like they're excellent fielding, great defense. They, like you said, just kind of next man up. They seem to just, push one game off after another. And it is worth mentioning. I think, by the way, the Tigers right now are minus 130 to win the division. I think, by the way, that's kind of
boggling. Yeah.
There's no way that team should be minus 130 for as good as some of their pitching has looked in,
or just not as far away as they are from everyone else in the division. Other than
exactly.
The White Sox.
That's my point. It's like, if you put it in a cage match right now, would I take the Tigers over the Guardians? Yes, I would take the Tigers roster over the Guardians roster, but it's not like they'd be coming out of that without a lot of some serious wounds from that matchup between those two teams. Like, they're kind of very similar. It's just that the Guardians have worse pitching and they seem to kind of figure these things out. They've got Cade Smith. Luis Ortiz has been like fine for them. They've got Manzardo, who seems to be a little bit better than we would expect, at least a little earlier. So
Manzardo looks good.
Yeah, I think, and also they've got teams that they can also beat up on in that division. If the Royals are truly a 500 or below 500 team, you've got 3 teams that are going to be below 500 in that division. So it's Guardians and Tigers, and they're going to have, a lot of those games that they can beat up on. And so I'm not betting against this team again. We bet against them in that White Sox series. They should have blown the first game. They should have blown the second game. They still somehow come away and they win that series.
Pretty sure the White Sox scored first in both those games too.
I think they did. Yeah. So for me, they're a blacklist. I'm not betting against them. I'm not betting on them, but there seems to be some sort of magic pixie dust with them because they just kind of seem to, this is what they do.
This we got our guest if you're just joining us, shout out by the way to Helms, who joined us on the SGPN show this morning. Saw that Tobias Myers cashed his under hits. I loved that play, that hit. So we're gonna have our guest, the Wolf of Oaklawn himself, our guy Chase, is gonna come on and talk horse season baseball, but want to really quickly go back to, if you're just joining us, you got Dad's Bet Baseball, and we are talking about baseball, and you can like and subscribe and do all that stuff. And our friends from Hall of Fame Bets are helping us out, and you can use the code DADS to get a sweet little discount from there. CJ, talk to me about any lessons learned from you in April real quick. Give me a 30-second on that. For me, I can just tell you, my biggest lesson that I learned last year, which was don't go into hitter props. And I've done extraordinarily well on pitcher props because I evened out my market. And I just, if it's still cold enough to wear a jacket, it's too cold to bet hitter props is sort of how I've been thinking. But what have you learned from April on betting stuff?
Sure. I mean, I'll keep this quick. Bet the shit out of AAA parks. So you mentioned batter props. Okay, there's a scenario where I have done well and will continue to bet these props as long as they are priced accordingly, which is home run and batter props like total bases, doubles in these AAA ballparks in Tampa and in Sacramento. Tampa right now, by the way, first in home runs allowed in terms of AAA parks. A's ranked sixth, which, I mean, go figure. And by the way, their schedule was front loaded to kind of make up for how hot it's going to be in the summer. They're still seventh in home runs per game already. And we haven't even gotten to the warm months, and the Athletics are already fourth. So, and they've played 15 games in that park. So
they're still hitting, man. They're fifth in looking in the last 2 weeks at Tampa on our site.
My last thing I'd say about that too is you might think that the odds have been adjusted. I can tell you, I just looked today. That is definitely not the case. Adolis Garcia, for example, to hit a home run in Sacramento last week was plus 375. He was plus 325 tonight, and they are playing in Arlington. So it's not like you're getting these crazy juiced or depressed lines when they're playing in these ballparks yet. I think at some point, market will catch up a little bit, and some of the books will be adding some extra juice for some of these. But until then, man, go crazy. Bet batter props, bet home runs, bet total bases. If you get a good matchup, I think those are two parks that I'm still going to target, especially in the next month.
When's their next home? So they're home right now. It's been a quiet offensive series with the Royals. Also, the proof point that I still think the Royals are cheating. Okay, so here's the series to circle, and then we'll bring Chase in. Phillies come to town on Tuesday. And by the way, the Phillies spring training stuff is also in Clearwater right nearby. That is going to be an interesting series to see some fireworks, because that entire team, all they want to do is that. All right, let's bring in Chase. Let's do it. It's time. My guy.
What's
Chase,
up?
how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm looking especially fashionable in the new Notorious OTV Junior Mafia lid.
Just want to throw that out there. Where can one acquire one of those?
If you go to store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com, check out the show page, the Notorious OTV. You can pick one up.
Nice, dude. Well, Chase, CJ, Chase. I only hang out with friends that begins with C. So that's I literally have a friend named Clark. Like there's Clark, CJ. There's all these things. So, all right.
I'm multiple C's.
Yeah, really. So, all right. This is a big week for you. For everyone who doesn't know, Chase is also known as the Wolf of Oaklawn. He is an expert in horse handicapping. He has been an announcer at the track. He is just an awesome human being. He can quote Wu-Tang. He is in Arkansas. But he is a dad, most importantly. But the first thing that I got to ask you, we're going to cap something that's very important. Who wins in a race, Twilight Sparkle from My Little Pony or Secretariat, and what would you make the odds?
So, Secretariat supposedly had the enlarged heart that made the endurance pretty good, but creator Laura Faust has alluded to the fact that maybe Twilight Sparkle might gain the power of levitation somewhere down the road. So right now I set the line at Secretariat 7-5, maybe 2-1 on Twilight Sparkle if we're in a match race.
All right.
Now, if they come out of the workouts levitating just fine, that might flip. We could flip that.
Oh man, that's that. I mean, I would. So, I'm just trying to think. I would probably box it.
I got a horse, by the way, that would beat both of them, and it's Aragorn's horse that was gifted to him from Lord of the Rings, because that horse, tell you what, saved everybody there by getting Frodo to safety. But man, could that horse fly?
And then Ajax, the horse that depressed all of our childhoods, by quitting and dying in the mud, much like a Chicago White Sox. All right. Keeping it real and keeping it with your capping abilities. There's another very important question that's been going around the internet right now that we decided to jump on and get down to business on. Who does win in a fight between 100 men and a gorilla? And what are you making the spread on this one? I'm doing it by like how many people the gorilla would destroy, and I'm going gorilla minus 75.5, I would say. Like they're 24 or whatever, run away. I don't know. How would you cap this one?
As someone who has watched Chimp Crazy twice now at this point.
Great doc, by the way.
Wait, is this a real? Hold on, this is a real thing?
Yes, this is better. It's the guy that made Tiger King. He made Chimp Crazy. Yeah.
And it's horror stories of people who thought it would be awesome to own a chimp, and then they fuck around and find out when their face has been torn off. That's just a chimp. We're talking gorillas. You know what I'm setting that line at? 99.5.
One guy's arm just there, just to like.
He might make it. Yeah, man.
So you've probably been pretty busy this week. Backing onto some of the real like horsey stuff, and then we're gonna make you talk a little baseball with us. Who you kind of liking and looking at? Derbies this weekend. This is kind of it's always your thing, but like this is the kickoff of busy seasons for you. What do you got? What are you thinking of right now?
You know, this Kentucky Derby is going to be very similar in the sense that you're going to have a horse come out of nowhere and win this thing at a large price, was what I'm really thinking. This race was really injected with a lot of speed in the later stages of the Kentucky Derby preps. It's going to go nuclear on the front end pace-wise, which really sets up for a horse that can come from off the pace. Now, your favorite is an off-the-pace horse named Journalism coming in from Santa Anita.
Journalism is not dead. There you go. There it is.
Yeah. He's been dusting like 5-horse fields, so you kind of want to take your chances against whenever he's running against 19 other horses. So I really feel like it's going to take the setup, but also a lot of like just luck. So I think you tie yourself to just a fucking rocket and try to hit a big price in this. And I have two that I really like that I've been talking about all week. The first one is the number 3 Final Gambit for Brad Cox. It's coming out of Turfway Park. Which actually I'm looking.
CJ, by the way, for those who sorry to interrupt, but for those who are not watching, CJ's got very excited.
I was literally about to bring up. I was like, please tell me Final Gambit. Please tell me Final Gambit, because this is the ultimate long shot horse name to be betting on.
And it's actually, in the advanced wagering pools, been bet down from 30-1 to 18-1 currently. So that's still got a lot of time to change. But, with the Kentucky Derby, they're going 10 furlongs, which is exceedingly far for a lot of these horses that are never going to attempt this distance ever again. Half of this field is going to walk home. Final Gambit has the pedigree that says they should be able to handle that 10 furlong distance. Not a problem. It's a horse that's on the rise. It's coming from synthetic, running on dirt. Sometimes you get a nice little pop in performance going from synth to dirt. It's just a key dirty little pig boy angle for me that I rub my nipples while I bet. So I really like that. Brad Cox, I think this could be a sneaky Derby horse. The other horse I'm looking at, which isn't taking the same amount of money, it was 20-1 on the morning line, is the number 14 Tistastic for Steven Asmussen. He gets Joel Rosario up, who skill-wise is one of the better closers in the game that can, come from off pace and crush souls. And if it comes down to just being a matter of like luck and a good ride, then I would like to go ahead and put my money in Joel's hands and let him, take a shot. So those are the two like big prices that I'm looking at. It looks like probably Final Gambit might be a little bit of the wise guy horse, might get bet down a little bit, but we'll see if the current betting holds.
Yeah, I mean, that's Adam. That's how you feel anytime Jordan Romano comes into the game, right? It's a Final Gambit.
It pretty much is. I usually want to take him out back and shoot him in front of everybody, much like another Filly horse that didn't do well after a couple of the Triple Crown.
Oh boy! All right, well let's move on from horses. Chase, you're in Arkansas, and this is a baseball show. Mm-hmm. Arkansas collegiate baseball team, the Hogs, they're pretty good. Number 5 in the country, I believe, right? 37-9. Have you been to any of the games? Do you follow Arkansas college baseball? Can you tell us anything about, do you think they have a real shot to win the College World Series this year?
Do people there care? Do people there, is that like their team?
Oh yeah. No, that's a huge thing for us here in Arkansas, is because we've had such a good baseball program for such a long time. I personally haven't been to any games at Baum, but Baum Walker is supposed to be just absolutely a phenomenal place to see a college baseball game, and then they get wild there. In terms of, do I think that Arkansas is a good bet, future bet to maybe win it all in Omaha? Absolutely fucking not. Don't bet on us. Don't ever bet on us. What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't do that. The closest we're getting to me seeing another national championship in any sport since I was 8 years old in 1994 was when we were 1 out away against Oregon State, and that ball just dropped in the Bermuda Triangle in between everybody. That would have been the third out and would have been our national championship. That was it. That's as close as we're getting. That's it.
Wow.
It's so much easier to be a sports fan when you're a little bit dead inside, Berg.
Trust me, I know that feeling. Speaking of dead inside, well, I guess you had pretty more successful, but the Cardinals, who are starting to look a little dead inside, I think they split that doubleheader today. Okay, so you grew up a Cardinals fan. Who is a player from the past 25 years? So like guys we've all heard of and grew up with that you wish you could bet their props today. That wasn't necessarily around while you were. I mean, look, if you were betting when you were 14, that's freaking awesome, and that goes hard. But who would you want to do? I specifically have always wanted to bet Rick Ankiel over walks. Just like that's just been ever since I got into betting. I'm like, I wish I had this. The original Ohtani, by the way, for those who don't know. But what do you kind of? Is there a player from you growing up that you're just like, man, I would love to just hammer?
Can I take the over on JD Drew's number of days on the DL with the case of the Mondays? Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think that's you go way over on that one. So that'd be a good ticket.
I was at the Battery game. So I was at the Battery game when they gave out walkie-talkies at the Vet. And to those who don't know, JD Drew was drafted by the Phillies, refused to sign, got put back in the draft, got taken by the Cardinals. The whole thing they said was it Drew Rosenhaus or Scott? One of them. I think it was they Scott Boras. That's what it is. Boras. Yeah. They said it was his fault or whatever. It wasn't. It was because no one wanted to go here. And then his first game they gave out. It was walkie-talkie night with AA with a 9-volt batteries in the walkie-talkies. It was a terrible idea. And 14-year-old me was like, I'm throwing this on the field just like everyone else is, and everybody threw batteries at him. So but he did he actually, would you guys say that did he have a good career? Like was kind of, I don't think so. I don't think he lived up to any expectations. Well, this is war, CJ.
I'm looking this up right now. What his actual war was. I remember JD Drew. Like he was. I mean, he was.
Did he play anywhere else other than the Cardinals?
No, he got traded. He got traded. Yeah, he was with Atlanta. He went to the Dodgers, and then he actually was an All-Star in Boston for a season as well. This season after they won the World Series, so he had certainly not a Hall of Fame career, not a great career by any means, but I mean he was a productive player for most of his career. CJ,
if you could bet a guy from the Cardinals teams that were 85 win World Series champions and such, is there a player that you would target?
So I'm so glad you brought this up because Chase, I was going to ask you this. I'm for many reasons I'm glad I didn't grow up a Cardinals fan, but if I did, after David Freese and his postseason that won them the World Series in 2011, right? 2011, I believe was the year they won that. So even years are always the giant years. I think if I had access to an account and was able to bet on David Freese to do anything the next season, I would have just completely blew my load and lost everything I had. Because as a homer, I would have said David Freese is just going to hit a home run every game because it's just what he does. He just has these huge moments, and I believe he was a local kid. It was like one of the most amazing hits I've ever seen in the World Series. So for me, I probably just would have lost a lot of money betting on David Freese.
Yeah, I can think of a couple of players that I had that kind of like love for that didn't even do anything cool like David Freese did. Like oh man, Bo Hart. God, I was at Bo Hart's major league debut in Milwaukee and was an absolute fan. He got me on Baseball Tonight because he had a home run that didn't get called. Me and my dad were doing in the crowd, and
that's badass.
Yeah. No, it was, it's always those little players that like, I would have bet anything that he was going to like be like maybe not like a everyday player, but at least like a utility player that getting, the start here and there, but they'll all break your heart eventually.
That's also true. All right. So, Chase, with your finals, we'll go back to horses. Give everybody, because it's a lot of degenerate. Look, there's nothing more degenerate and more dad than a bunch of people being like, let's hear about some horses. Give us not a pick show, but give us the picks. Give me something I can box. Give me a nice exacta for this. And it doesn't have to be in the Derby. I'm writing this one down. It's going to be great. So it could be one of the other races, unless it's too early for you. I don't know.
No, I think I've pretty much got a feel on it, and I kind of stuck with my gut opinion with this one, which is Tistastic. So I'm going to win bet that horse, and then I'll box.
Wait. His name is Testastic?
Tistastic.
Oh, Tistastic. Okay, so the other, a little bit north. All right. So
sired by Tis the Law.
I wasn't going there. Yeah, go on, please.
I'm going to box together Tistastic with Final Gambit, and then I'm going to put 2 more horses in that box. One is going to be actually the chalk, the 8 Journalism, as well as the 9 Burnham Square. If you get the exacta with either Final Gambit or Tistastic in it, it doesn't matter who else comes in with. If you've got the other horses, it's going to pay pretty well. Dream scenario, it goes Final Gambit, Tistastic, and you make Sex Island money.
So wait, what's the number? Then the 8 and the 9. What was it? It was
3, 8, 9, and 14.
3, 8, 9, 14. Box it. That's my favorite thing in horse betting is to box and exacta everything. It's look, man, Gulfstream got me through pandemic and KBO. So
we all became NC Dinos fans.
We all became NC Dinos fans. It's right. I lost some money on the Deuce and Bears last night. Some of us get up at 2 a.m. and that's just what happens. All right. So Chase, tell everybody where they can find you. I know that you are busy this week. We'll definitely have you. We're gonna have you back because I love talking to you, and and horses are fun. So tell everybody where they can find you, especially the rest of this week, which is kickoff of the Triple Crown.
Sure, you can always find me being abrasive on Twitter at of Oaklawn. Check out the show, The Notorious OTB, on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. We just added our YouTube channel this year. We're 5 days a week, usually Monday through Friday. Morning shows and then a Thursday longer show. But we're doing longer shows all this week for Kentucky Derby cards. So check that out and follow the show so you'll be updated on the times, and download us wherever you get your podcasts.
Awesome. All right, dude. Thanks for coming by, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. This was tons of fun.
Yeah, dude. Well, you mentioned, I was like, dude, we got to get it's a yearly thing for you and me. Whatever show I do this with you. And then we just jam all summer. And then I float. And then right around Breeders' Cup, my kids start driving me crazy and I can't respond to texts.
Berg, I was just busting, ready to drop that creator Laura Faust.
Man, it's so good.
Yeah. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, talk to you soon. All right, that was awesome. Like that was a little bit off the baseball.
Dare I say, was that Tistastic?
It was Tistastic. Dude, you were skeptical. You were like, "Oh, make sure it's baseball." Dude, you nailed it. It was nailed. It was great. By the way, for those who are just joining, this wasn't live. CJ and I had a fight over text last night because so for those of you who follow us, we have a website, handygraphs.com. You should check it out. It's great. It's basically the best of all the data that we use that you can find all widely available. We put it in a really cool dashboard. It's color coded if you're an idiot, and it makes things easier. But the point is that for home run betting, he removed something, and I immediately was my natural abrasive self of what the fuck. And CJ, probably being a little hangry and also probably being annoyed by his kids, responded back over text of like, I'm very busy and be patient, and he snapped back at me. And so anyway, and then it was fine, but it was a nice little fight. It was good. That's why we're boys. You feel we're better now? Yeah.
I mean, after that last conversation, how could I not be better? I mean,
exactly.
I got a Final Gambit. I got a Tistastic.
You were I'm literally chomping at the bit, not even to make another horse pun.
I can't believe I was so ready. I was literally like chatting you this on the side. I'm like, please let me say something because I have to say I'm betting.
I did. It was great.
I have to bet Final Gambit. And then as soon as I saw him go to say, I was like, oh my god, yes, that's. Now, of course, there's no way that horse has already gotten too much CLB. So,
that's awesome. All right. Let's bring in producer Spencer. We're gonna do some dad moves of the week, and this Spencer was about to tell a epic story before we were checking audio, and that is going to kick off our dad moves of the week. Go.
All it was like a simple golf story revolving.
Yeah, but it was
Wingo.
but who were you playing golf with?
No, it was just like he just lives on a golf course, and
Who's he? Who's he? Tell
Who's he?
everybody.
Trey Wingo.
Yeah, Trey Wingo.
It's just he lives on a golf course, and he's got like a I don't know what hole he lives on, but like he's got like the like the personalized golf cart at the course where he's a member at, and he would just go to his house in the hole and just like have drinks in the middle of a round. It was just like super casual, super chill, but fun to golf with.
Spencer, what'd you shoot?
What did I shoot?
How'd you do on the round? Yeah, I mean, did you embarrass yourself? Did you at least make him think 90s? Like, okay, like I'm not
90s.
Okay, hey, to me, anything under 100.
That's always 100. My goal. No triple digits, and that's a win. That's always the rule.
That would have been good, Adam, if we had just left the podcast and Spencer, you had just not revealed at all who he was, and people could have just guessed for the next few weeks. Like, who was Spencer golfing with? Was it Bo Hart? Like, I don't know. We need to find out.
CJ, what's your dad move of the week?
My dad move of the week is what I'm holding right now, which is this is one of the most dad move things ever. Non-alcoholic beers. It's superior dad move. You still get a taste of it's not alcoholic, but you still get to taste the beer. You still get to feel like you're having a beer. Don't have to worry at 6 a.m. when my 9-month-old son wakes me up and I have a hangover. It's hangover free. So as a dad, I used to make fun of people that would drink non-alcoholics and say it was cool. I've fully come over to the dark side there, and I think non-alcoholics are great.
What is that? O'Doul's? What is it?
No,
this one's
O'Doul's is a real dad brand. That's like the.
I'm not.
O'Doul's is like what you drink if you are not allowed to drink anymore. Like,
give me at least another 20 years for that one, Spencer. But it is athletic.
I know my dad,
which they do make pretty good ones. Yeah,
for a Super Bowl one year. I think it was like the year after the Rams lost the Patriots. I think was that Tampa Bay, Oakland?
2019. Oh, God. I'm surprised he didn't give you anything alcoholic to drink during that game for how bad that was.
No. It was Tampa Bay, Oakland in like 2000.
I was in college then.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like 9 years old. I was like, Dad, what are you drinking?
Brad Johnson, right? That was the Brad Johnson game, I think?
Yeah. Brad
Johnson and Rich Gannon?
Yeah, so O'Doul's sucks, and I hated beer for like the longest time because of O'Doul's. Not that I was drinking after O'Doul's.
O'Doul's sucks.
Yeah.
Adam, what's your dad move of the week?
My dad move of the week. So I am going to Detroit tomorrow, and when I pack, I've always done this. I lay out every single outfit for the entire weekend that I am there, including like socks and boxers, and then I fold each individual outfit up and put it in, and then I pack 2 additional outfits just in case there's some sort of thing.
An overpacker?
An overpacker.
Yes.
That is. So I am uber prepared. It drives my wife crazy.
We're fighting again. Yeah,
really. Well, we can't go on a guy's trip.
I'm team Adam. Overpacking is key. You just never know. So my buddy Track always says, throw a bathing suit in, no matter where you're going, even if it's cold, you throw a bathing suit in because you never know. And so I always do. I throw a bathing suit in. I'm like, I don't know. Whatever. We can see what happens. But all right, this is a really fun episode. It's funny. Ironically, I'm drinking a Happy Dad seltzer, so it's a very dad move. Okay. So first of all, thank you, Chase, Wolf of Oaklawn, for coming through and talking horses with us. Thank you to our show partner, friend of the pod is what we're calling them. Friend of the pod, Hall of Fame bets. We use them for a lot of the cool micro markets. They're really, really good at that because you can literally go in, and we'll show this on another show. You can go in, and what I like to do is I like to check and see, all right, if this team isn't hitting, what is their strikeouts been against left-handers over the last 9 games? And you can actually see how the team has done. Really good for these below the fold markets that CJ and I always talk about. Hall of Fame bets, and you can use the code DADS. They are, what's their website? You'll figure it out. Hall of Fame bets, like probably halloffamebets.com. There is not an alternate one, but just Google it and you'll find that. But so for CJ,
who is at Dads That Bet, and Spencer, who is at Spencer_Ray, RAY. I'm Adam Rosenberg at Hey Rosenberg. Make sure that you like, subscribe, tell a friend about this. Listen to that intro, by the way. Our new intro is a banger. I made my wife listen to it like 40 times, and it's only 13 seconds long. Just like me. Oh, so thanks everybody. We will see you next week when I'm back. Again, this is Dad's Bet Baseball.